so we're back with another video, and this video is finally we're getting to the circular crochet. I feel like I've been talking about it forever and not actually have done it, but it is kind of a little bit more advanced. There are two ways you can actually do circular crochet. So you can start with what they call a magic loop. So you take the end of your yarn and basically you make a slip knot. So I'm wrapping my yarn from the front around my fingers to the back, and then back to the front, and then letting them cross over, and then I'll take my fingers out and kind of push this the piece that crossed over under that loop and putting my crochet hook just like that. Okay, so that's how I do the magic loop. That's also how I do my slip knot. Now with a slip knot you want to tighten this, but with the magic loop you do not want to tighten this. You want to go ahead and just crochet right into this loop. We're doing circular crochet, and I'll explain why you want to keep it open like this in a second. So what I want to do now is go ahead and just chain one, and the way that I keep my loop open is I just hold it where it kind of is juxtaposed to my crochet hook. So I hold it there and I do a chain. You can do more than one chain. If you were doing for this video, I'll just chain one, okay? So then I'll do a half double crochet. We haven't done those in a while. So I'll do a half double crochet, and what I'm doing is going right into this entire big circle. But I want to keep my end piece twisted around, and I want to have both of those pieces, as you can see here, together, and I want to use this circle here similar. I'll just be working in a circle, but just working, on the top half, pretending like this was my chain. Okay, hope that makes sense. So we're going to do a half double crochet into the circle. So I'm just going to do like this, half double crochet, go through all 3 loops like this, and I'm going to do 10. So that's 1, and you don't have to hold it as much right up to the edge once you get that first one in. 2, and I'll show you a different way to actually do the beginning of a circular. So I'm just doing a half double crochet right into my big circle, and I'm keeping these two, my end and my circle loops, together. Okay, I don't know how many that is. We'll just do a few more. Then I'll show you what you can do, or what you need to do. Okay. So at this point, I have a little tail here, and it's been, just chucking along while I'm making my stitches in this big circle. Now, they call it a magic loop because you can pull this end or tail, just pull the tail. You have to kind of hold this, but pull the tail so that your magic loop now just closes right up. Okay, so now you have a circle. If you don't have a lot of stitches, if you didn't make a lot of stitches, you might have just a half circle, which is okay. If you have a half circle, you're going to do the same thing you would if you have a full circle. You're going to now look at your stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That first stitch is always kind of weird. It leans forward or back or something, but go ahead and count that one. They should all look like the same braid that you're used to seeing. And you also have a chain that's kind of hidden down in there too. So what you want to do is a slip stitch into your first stitch, your first half double crochet, which was really, doesn't matter. Okay, so your first half double crochet. So to do that, and that will link this end to this end. So to do that, you're going to go right into that stitch like you would normally do, and you're going to yarn over, but you're going to just pull that loop through and then pull it through this loop to make a slip stitch. So a slip stitch, you don't need to yarn over in between at all. You just pull your loop straight through both of your original, your stitch here and your stitch here, okay? And that closes up the circle completely. So now your next row is pretty important because you want to increase as much as you want, basically, but you want to increase. If you don't increase, you'll end up with a little tiny cone that is just like this. Okay, so to increase, I go ahead and just chain 2 for my half double. You can do any stitches with the circular crochet. You can do single, all single, double, whatever. So that chain is now considered one stitch because I slip stitched into that first one. This chain is now kind of acting like a stitch that I would have done for my next row. But remember always to do your chain because that will start your next row with circular versus whatever. So now my next stitch is right here. So I'm going to go into that. Yarn over first, go in, yarn over, and pull through. Now, last video I said increasing, you would put 2 stitches in the same hole, right? So we're going to just do that again. We're going to increase. So I'm putting 2 half doubles in that same stitch. You can see there. And these 2 half doubles are in the same hole. So then I don't have to increase every single one. In this one I can just do 1 half double in 1 stitch, and then I can go to the next stitch and do 2. 2 half doubles in the same stitch, and then I could just do 1. So alternate between doing 1 half double and then doing 2 half double to make it kind of an even increase all the way across. 1, and I'm going to do 2 in this one. It's kind of hard to keep track unless you could use a stitch marker. They have those in stores, which is a good idea if you're making something big. So, but you can always look to see. So, okay, I'm going to go back and see. Okay, I did 2 in that hole. I have 2. This hole I have 1. So then this hole I would need 2. If you're truly alternating. So now I've increased all the way across. When I've gotten to the end, I can see my chain there that I made originally, and I can just slip stitch. I'll just slip stitch anywhere in the chain, excuse me. Slip stitch to join this side with that side. So there is my complete circle. So that's basically how you would do a circle. Let me get an example for you to show you what you can do more with that. 1 second. So here's an example of just a little coaster that I made actually. So I just did the same thing pretty much. Did a circle in the middle, and then for these holes, remember I taught you how to do the holes? So all I did was I did a double, I believe these were, I think all of these are doubles. So I did a double crochet, and then I chained maybe 2 or 3. Well, let's see, I can tell you how many I chained. I chained 1 actually, and then because I can see that there's 1 stitch here that I would have to skip, so I chained 1, and then went into the next stitch and did another crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet to make those holes, and then just built on that. Okay, to make these little lumps here, I just chained in between those. I would have to go back and look at exactly how I did that, but I did the same thing here. Just went a little bit wider with it. So that's circular crochet. It's not that difficult, but it is a little bit of an advanced technique because of having to keep track very diligently with what you're doing and how many stitches you have. And the other way that you could start your row or start your circular crochet, if you're not comfortable with the magic loop, you can just do a slip knot, or you could just tie, if you're not comfortable with the slip knot, you can just tie your yarn onto your crochet hook, and then you could just chain like normal. You could chain maybe 2 or 3 like this, like a very short chain, and then use your slip knot, or slip stitch, excuse me, and go into that first. You would skip your first, you would skip the second, and you would go into this third chain from the hook. Just go into that and do a slip stitch, 1, and then just slip it. And then you can work inside this little circle that you just made. So it's kind of hard to see, but you have to pull it open and then work inside that hole, basically, that you made. Let's see if I can do it on camera. Actually, with this yarn, it might be better to do more. So let's do 5, 2, 3, 4. So I did 5 chains, and now I'm going to slip stitch into that first one so you can see what I'm talking about. Now I have a larger diameter here. There's a hole, and I can work inside that hole, or similar to the magic loop, or I can work on the outside of the chain. So I could chain 1 to make my new row, and I can go right in and work on the outside. I haven't done this in a long time, but it can be done, and sometimes it's necessary. So I can work on the outside and just go right around. You need to keep track of your numbers. So I chained 5, so I should have 5 stitches to go around. Okay, and I'm just using that top. There's a top little lump that I'm going right into for that. So that kind of gives you the same look, similar technique to the magic loop. I just like the magic loop because I make a lot of hats, so it closes up the hole. Like I can close this up even more with a magic loop if I wanted to. I could close my loop up very tightly like that for hats, because you don't want a big gaping hole in the top of your hat. So that's why it's important. So that is circular crochet. So in the next video I will have some more techniques. Please leave some feedback and let me know if you would like to see a particular technique or a particular garment or something like that. I make a lot of things almost every day, almost every week. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.